Have you considered becoming a CDL instructor or a trainer and you're worried that you might not have what it takes? Well, then this video is for you. Remember, when applying to Prime, if you found these videos helpful, please make certain to use my name and code as your driver referral in the application box. Let's do this together. Now stay tuned for 5 tips from Prime Inc.'s Trainers of the Year. All right, team, here I am with John Connell. That is 2024's Trainer of the Year for Flatbed. I just want to kind of fanboy out for a minute here. When I first started training back in 2018, I was very eager to learn how to figure out the ropes, to do it right, to do it efficiently. And as anyone who's trying to learn something, you watch the people that are good at it. And I remember seeing John pretty early on working with students 2, 3, 4 at a time and seeing how efficient he was, and not just that, but how fun he made it for the students. And one of the things I preach all the time is that you got to have fun out here. There's a curiosity that you need to have and not an anxiety, because it's a lot easier to learn from a place of curiosity, of wonder, of enjoyment. And I saw the way that he operated, and I found it insanely inspiring. And so I just tried to get in his back pocket and learn as much as I could from him. And that following year, I beat him out for Trainer of the Year. But
yeah, he did.
He was runner-up, and he's been runner-up pretty much every year I've been around until this last year, and he's probably got locked up for next year too. So I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory about my relationship with John and you know, what an inspiration I found him to be. So having him here to give some of the tips on best practices for being an instructor is pretty exciting. So let's just jump into those. Before I give him a chance to kind of respond to that, I think one of the #1 attributes out here, if you're thinking about being a trainer, you've got to have patience. You've got to know that the student is going to take a little while to learn, that you are going to take a little while to learn how to be efficient at instruction, right? Developing your own system, it doesn't happen overnight. So that's one of the attributes that's probably top 2, top 3 on my list, is you need to be able to take a deep breath and smile and realize, you know, it wasn't all built in a day, as they say. So yeah, do you have other ideas on?
Yeah, so, and there's a learning curve to that.
Sure.
So, you know, what Danny was saying was, you know, you got to learn your own style and your own skill level. And there's a learning curve to learning yourself and how you actually teach. And, you know, I love Danny because we think a lot alike.
Absolutely.
And we critique each other and ourselves probably more than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love that. You know, we're always trying to do better, strive to do better, see where we can improve. And that's a big part of training, and it rubs off onto the student.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That curiosity to get better. And I think that plays into one of the other big attributes, I'd say, is I think we keep it pretty light. I mean, we have fun. You got to be able to kind of let it roll off of you. And when you're striving to be better, you got to come from a place of excitement and not a place of anxiety or have to. And
that might be a little more in my wheelhouse than your wheelhouse. It comes maybe a little more natural to me.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We have very similar through lines with how we coach, but there is something about my method that's just a little bit more specific, dialed in, I think.
You're structured, yeah.
Yeah, very structured.
And I'm a shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
Let's just have fun and let's get through it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. Yeah, different coaching styles for sure.
100%.
But, you know, I think it works out pretty well for both of us. So, and that's a great point, too. If you're thinking about being a trainer, maybe your particular way is not our way. Your way could be just as efficient. You know, when you look at the numbers in the aggregate, we're kind of around the same wheelhouse as far as pass rate, number of passes, these sort of metrics. And we're coming at it from kind of a different place. So yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. And part of that we have kind of touched on is that love of learning and teaching, if you're coming from a place of wanting the other individual to excel and kind of cherishing that aha moment that you get to witness someone have, because backing a trailer especially can be very confusing and
stressful.
Yeah, well, you know, depending on how the individual approaches that information, if they feel, and this is something I coach all the time, and you probably coach something very similar, if not the same thing, when you are learning something new, you really do yourself a disservice if you are outcome oriented. You have to think about process, about following steps and getting to a place where you're learning, and not a place of I have to get to X, right? Because if you're outcome oriented, you end up creating more anxiety than you need. It takes a little while to learn something, and you have to have that patience like we talked about at the beginning. And that patience is born from understanding this takes a little bit of time, but it's a fun thing to do. I mean, one of the things I coach all the time is when I was, you know, a 10-year-old kid, playing with trucks was so fun. And now I get to do that as my occupation.
All the time.
And that, to tap into that and remember that and not have that point get lost on you, I think is pretty crucial to being effective at this, kind of remembering gratitude for the situation that you're in.
And it'll make you a better driver, period. It seems like if you train, you're more focused on what you're doing as well as what the student's doing, which just in turn makes you a better driver because you're more focused on actually what you're doing.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, teaching something is the best vehicle for learning something. And that's another good point. So many individuals, when we kind of move into what keeps people from wanting to be a trainer, one of the big impediments people bring to me all the time is I don't feel like I know everything yet. I'm not 100% confident with every single possible scenario, and it makes me not want to train on anyone else because I don't feel like I can put them in a position to succeed. And the reality of this is when you start training, you learn so much faster of not only things that were maybe gaps in your knowledge of the particular field you're in, but also how to convey it efficiently. And the process of learning how to synthesize and make something more digestible to someone else, that process you learn the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs, the dynamics of it completely. So I would offer anyone who's worried that I don't know enough to teach, if you're competent at this activity, if you do this job day in and day out, you have a huge knowledge base, and that is a great place to start from. And there's a lot of trainers out here that would be more than happy to kind of fill in the gaps and help you along the way.
And you can actually start even before you start training. When they asked me to become a trainer, I actually waited a couple of months, and I found myself thinking, okay, I'm pulling up to this receiver. How would I convey or how would I explain what I'm doing and how to do something next? So what I did was I started walking myself through what I was actually doing, and I just want to make sure that I could explain to a student to get to the same level that I am.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic place to come from, because when you take these mental reps of how would I explain this step, how would I convey this point to someone else, you're going through this kind of rehearsal in your mind, right? And you're repping it before you're doing it. And that is something I coach the students all the time, is see it before you do it.
Yep.
See the process before you start the process, so that way you're not being reactive to the situation you're suddenly in, but you're being proactive by having an established plan and then just checking your boxes on that plan.
And a lot of drivers, they do this subconsciously.
Yeah.
So they're pulling up to a receiver and they subconsciously go, okay, I need to do this, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 5. And all you got to do now to become a trainer is just explain what you're doing instead of doing it subconsciously.
Yeah, you've already kind of gone through this. Now you're just orating while you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's a great point. A couple of the other things that I heard from individuals that were thinking about being trainers but were a little reticent, one of them was they didn't like the space constriction, right? During the TNT, you're kind of living in that truck with that individual, and that was something that a lot of folks voiced to me as, this is my space and I don't want to share that space. And I will offer a couple things. First, when I went through the TNT phase, you know, me and the TNT driver, Brad Matthews, great dude, we did 30,000 miles in just under 6 weeks. So we did about 6,000 miles a week. So if you're really hustling, that's what you can expect to put up. And I chose to view that as this fun kind of summer camp, this kind of like boot camp, fun, see the country, live in someone else's space, learn from their habits. And that approach made it an adventure and not something that I had to feel constricted by, but something that I could feel, you know, relatively inspired by. Use it as an opportunity to learn. And there's so many, the second thing I would offer, there's so many little lessons in sharing small space with someone on respecting other people's space, being able to manage conflict effectively, and say the position that you have without being emotional about it. It was a huge learning opportunity. So I think when you see it that way, instead of as some sort of restriction on your personal freedom, then it opens up some doors mentally to how to approach it.
And it goes back to, even the TNT phase, you have to go back to make it fun. There's plenty of times in the TNT phase where you're going to get on each other's nerves. Mm-hmm. But if you take just a little bit of downtime, it doesn't even take long, an hour or two. Have fun. You're going across the country. Make it, I mean, literally, just make it a road trip. Make it feel like this is, which it is. I mean, this is just a different way of living.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle that you either love or you hate. And it's not for everybody. But if you really love it, make sure that is rubbing off to your student.
Sure. Yeah. And I would offer that there's the choice to see it as something exciting or something that inhibits you. And to your point, it is a road trip. And I remember feeling like I was seeing kind of the backbone of America. You were seeing the manufacturing plants, the different areas that had so much to do with job creation and who America really was, kind of in the trenches. And that's so amazingly cool. Like, what an opportunity to see these places that you have no real understanding of until you're actually in the truck at these facilities.
And even though you've seen it 100 times or 1,000 times, that student of yours, that's his first time.
Yeah.
Absorb that. I love that. I love getting in a truck with a new driver and seeing the eyes wide open going, oh man, this mountain is huge. And I'm like,
yeah,
I remember that feeling. I remember the first time I saw the Rocky Mountains, I went, oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You get to kind of relive it for the first time. And that's a pretty amazing thing to share with somebody.
It sure is.
Experience. I think the last thing that I heard a lot of people be concerned about is sleeping behind a new driver. And so I would offer this suggestion to both trainee and trainer, is to run for at least a few days up to an entire week of what's called super solo, right? Where you are with that individual and you're on the same sleep pattern and you can coach them while they're driving, observe their techniques, teach them the things that they're going to need when you are not present. So that way you do have that peace of mind. Because even if that takes you 5 days, 7 days of working with that individual and your miles for that week are not 6,000 miles, but they're 4,000 miles, you are going to feel so much more confident week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9 of that TNT, having trained them up correctly so they do know how to be in a prolonged descent on a Vale Pass, on a Donner Pass, on a Snoqualmie Pass. If there's a little bit of traction issues, you've trained them to the position that they know how to operate in those conditions, and also how to say, these conditions are beyond my capacity.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to wait them out, or I'm going to pull off and we're going to solve it with time or a different way, right? Being able to know when something is out of your capacity is vital, and giving the student that confidence in that first 5 to 7 days of saying, it's okay to wave a white flag sometimes.
Right.
It's okay because this is a marathon, not a sprint. So
Because just like you're honest with your skill level, you know when to pull over. They also have to be honest with their skill level, and they need to know when to pull over. I know my first couple of winters, I pulled over a whole lot more than I did the winters after that, just because my skill level was not as adequate as I felt comfortable being with. So there's plenty of times I shut down. I mean, in the middle of winter, and that's okay. You gotta be safe.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, I think, the main stuff that I've heard as far as benefits and potential reasons folks might not be interested in training. Hopefully that this video has helped kind of elucidate to some folks the not only financial but also the intrinsic benefits of being a trainer. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to comment those below and reach out in the future to John or myself. CDL with Connell is his channel here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm in.
I'm good, dude.
That was one rip. I mean, I feel like we covered everything. I just gotta
Right.
make sure the audio's good, because if the audio's not good, I'm
I know, man. Phone rang and beep.
I didn't know you were going. All right. We good?
Thought we were going to do that before the plays.
Yeah. It's real. It's the real thing. There's no ink in this marker.